And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with another Michael Chu. Thanks for being with me today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Michael.
It's going to be a fantastic conversation. So Michael Chu is down in Austin, Texas. He is the creator and founder of Champion Development. And he's got a background in business for the last 15, 20 years as a CEO, helped a lot of businesses grow. He's got a lot of talents, and I really am excited to talk with him today about how he helps, and I love this, he helps his clients turn passion into profits. I'm all in there because, as you know, I'm super passionate just all the time. So I want to turn that into profits.
Sure.
How to generate massive impact. And he's got this maximization model on the LTV method that we're going to dive into in a minute or two. But first, Michael, tell us, how in the world did you get to doing what you do today?
Sure. Well, it happened overnight.
All right.
It just took 15 to 20 years, as some would say jokingly.
Love it.
Instead of going through all 15 to 20 years, though, I never saw myself being in business or an entrepreneur or anything like that. I grew up in a super small town, 4,000-ish people in New Jersey, one traffic light to the next, super shy, grew up with ancestors who were farmers and a bunch of relatives, mom, that were teachers, right? So the typical 9 to 5, have a job, go to college, etc. As I was working at Pizza Hut in college, it wasn't paying what I jokingly say the beer and gas money. And so I found a role in the newspaper doing direct sales. Direct sales introduced me to entrepreneurship. And admittedly, Michael, I sucked at it.
Join the club, brother.
And that is actually what motivated me so deeply. I was a 10-time national karate champion through most of my teens and my 20s. And so I was used to being really good at things.
Right.
And sales was one of the first things that I really, I use the word suck, but struggled with. Didn't come naturally. I was naturally shy. And for that reason alone, I think I loved it, fell in love with it. And from karate, the whole process of getting good at something, I fell in love with the process of studying the art of entrepreneurship, leadership, John Maxwell, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, all those guys for the next couple of years. And that led to a 10 to 15 year career of leading 3 different 7-figure sales organizations that over those 15 years generated over $100 million in revenue of different products along the way. So that's kind of the first chapter. But what led to the business that we have today is, despite all of that exciting success and all the things that I just shared, I actually found myself at what I call the darkest season of my life, on the verge of divorce, completely unhappy. I was crying on my bathroom floor, not figuratively, literally, and I could not get myself to go to work on a Tuesday because I just felt so out of purpose, out of passion, burnt out. And I was not happy with the life that I'd created through my 20s. I was doing everything that I was supposed to do, make money, get a college degree, all these things. I bought a house at 25 years old, and I was one of the fastest promotions to an executive role in one of my first companies, all this stuff. And I found myself completely miserable. Wow. And I had a mentor who used to say to me, whenever you're lacking it, give it. If you're lacking energy, give energy. If you're lacking money, give it. I was lacking purpose and passion. And so I put up a Facebook post that said, in the last 15 years, if I've impacted you in any way, it would mean the world to me if in the comment section you shared with me how. And I took all that feedback and I just made a decision that even though I'm at a low point, how can I give more to the world right now? And that launched my first coaching business called the Health and Wealth Academy. That business grew with no big following on social media, but that business grew from 2K a month to 200K a month in the span of 18 to 24 months. And that business still runs today as a 7-figure business. But as I was growing that business, tons of other coaches started to ask me, how are you doing it? You don't even have a big following. You get 4 likes on your posts on a daily basis. And so that's what led me to discover the maximization model and the LTV method, where we now teach other coaches, fitness trainers, health coaches, et cetera, how to grow and scale their own online coaching business without ads, without a ton of money, without a huge following and stuff like that. So that might have been like the 3 to 5 minute version, but that's the story of how I got here today.
I love that. Love that. Love that. I don't love the deep dark, but we got to have the deep dark sometimes to find the light, right?
Sure.
My story, my audience knows that. You don't know it. I've been in prison twice in my life. And I started this business when I actually escaped from prison.
Wow.
Now those prisons aren't literal prisons, okay, Michael? They're jobs that I hated, that sucked my energy out, and I felt hopeless, right? I knew I had to do something else. I found and the light. I escaped from prison, got the job, started my company 13 years ago, and have been doing this ever since. And so I resonate with a lot of what you just shared.
Sure.
And I know our audience does too, because so many people are there. So let's dive in. So without sharing all the details and things, right? You got this maximization model, LTV model. What is it that you help your clients really do to turn that passion of theirs into profit so they can make a greater impact? What are some things you're helping them do?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 sides. There's the strategic side, giving them the exact strategies and templates on how to identify who their actual avatar is, so they can stand out amongst the crowd instead of just what we call posting and praying. Most people are just putting content up, hoping that clients come their way, posting and praying. Right? So how to identify who their actual niche is, so their content, number 2, right, the marketing they put out is actually attracting the perfect fit clients. Then number 3, we teach them how to have conversations in Messenger, text message, email in a way that the right prospects are excited to get on a call, right, about doing business with you, instead of feeling like they're just being sold or putting a wall up. Then number 4, we teach them the actual conversion strategies, which we call the Harvard effect, in a way that upholds your authority without having to be salesy. And then lastly, number 5, how to design your offerings in a way that you're delivering outstanding results in such a way that a client is excited to stay for years, not just weeks and months. And so those are the 5 pillars of like the strategic side of what we work with people. And we help them take their story. For me, Michael, I was passionate about martial arts and fitness and everything like that, but I was also passionate about business after the first 10 to 15 years. And funny enough, after my first 4 to 5 years in business, I found myself in the worst shape of my life. And I started karate when I was 3, Michael. So I was in pretty good shape most of my life. It's just what I was used to. And I don't say that to brag. That's just the fact that I started at 3 years old. And here I was at 25 and 26, feeling like I was starting to get overweight. I didn't love the way my body looked. I was feeling like I couldn't do a lot of the same things. And I started to tell myself, that's just what happens when you get older. But I was also only 25 years old. That's right. So I wasn't actually that old.
That's right.
And so I realized that it was because I was working 60 to 80 hours a week as an entrepreneur. And I had to figure out how to stay in great shape while growing a business, which was very different than staying in shape when I was just a martial artist and I could train 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
I became passionate about that because I ended up getting back into the best shape of my life at 30. And that's what actually became my first business, the Health and Wealth Academy, where we help real estate agents, direct sales leaders, entrepreneurs working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week on the road, how to get into the best shape of their life while still eating all the foods they love in a way that levels up their energy and confidence to increase their income. So we take people's stories and turn it into that. We take the passion and we turn it into something that can add value to the world, which is how profits come in. So that's the first thing. We teach them the strategy. But the second thing is we help them develop who they are and how they're showing up as a leader, right? Because it's one thing to do the work, but if you don't have the beliefs, the expectations, the standards, or the mindsets, you're still going to find yourself struggling along the way, because you need the right beliefs with the right routines and the right strategies, oftentimes, to create any type of result that you want in your life. So those are the 2 things that we work on: leveling up the person while giving them the strategies and the blueprints for success.
I love it. I love that, Michael. Thank you for doing what you do, because I'm sitting here going, well, yeah, I could probably go buy 6 different books or 9 different programs and probably piecemeal this all together, or I could just call Michael. and so many times, that's what we do. right?
Yeah.
Well, I can go buy a book. I can do this myself. And you probably can at some level if you're really, really, really disciplined. But what I found is it's better to connect with somebody like you and say, you know what? Let's just make this thing happen, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
trading time for money at one level, but it's okay because you've already got a proven process that I would enter into that helps me go, wow, that's cool. And the transformation usually happens much faster that way. Is that what you find?
Well, I mean, I'm a perfect example of that, right? Because I had 10 to 15 years of business experience when I launched this coaching business. My ego, like you were kind of pointing to, said, I can figure this out on my own. I know how to market. I know how to sell. And so for 2 years, Michael, I made $2,000 in my coaching business trying to figure it out on my own. And so myself as well, I'm a byproduct of mentors and coaches, which is funny too, because how I became successful in my first career was from learning from mentors and coaches. Funny enough, in my second career, I have this big ego. Like, I've generated $100 million in revenue for companies. I should be able to do this on my own. Long story short, I hired a mentor and a coach, and I went from 2K in 2 years to my first 2K month in the span of 6 weeks. Then I was doing 10K a month in 90 days. Then I was doing 40K, 50K a month in 6 months. And we did an 80K month in 9 months. But I think here's the important part. People think they're hiring a coach and a mentor for information.
Right.
The truth is, information's a commodity at this point. You can go Google, you can go jump into free Facebook groups, you can hop on YouTube and find all types of information on how to grow a coaching business, let's say. Right? But what having a mentor and coach I have found does is a couple things. Number one, it creates forced focus. Because once someone invests and says, this is the path I'm going to follow, they stop getting distracted by all the other possible ways that you can become successful. It's kind of like losing weight. A lot of people understand that analogy. If I'm just trying to figure it out on my own, I'm like trying keto for a little bit, then I tried vegan for a little bit, then I tried paleo for a little bit, then I'm trying this workout and that. And funny enough, that same person who says they're trying all these things rarely actually gets the result that they want, or they don't get the result long-term. But if I hire one specific personal trainer who says, this is what I'm going to have you do, it creates forced focus to actually follow through with something over a long enough period of time. The second thing I find it does is it creates perspective on what you personally already have strengths around and what you need to focus on. And then number three, it creates implementation, accountability, right? Because information without implementation will rarely lead to transformation.
That's right.
And so that's what investing in a mentor or coach, at least from my own experience, did for me. So yeah, I agree with you completely.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you have the same experience as I do every time I've hired a coach. And just like every time we hire a new team member and train them properly, my income goes up. It pays for itself multiple times. And what I learned, the transformation that happens is a lifelong transformation. It's not like so I hire you to help me with my health. Great. You know, the impacts that has in everything else, every other area of my life. Same thing. If I need help in sales or closing or marketing or position, you get me that transformation. Guess what it does to the rest of my life, right? And I think business owners don't think in those categories. And in the transformation, the step up that you're going to take, A, working with a coach, B, being around other people, if it's a group program, you know, and see what it does to yourself. Because when you pay the money to be involved in things like this, you're committed, you're ready to go and do the push-ups or whatever it is that they're going to tell you to do, right? You get more commitment to get the transformation.
And anytime people share those examples of like, every time I invest in a coach, my life gets better, whether my business income goes up or whatever it is. I think it's fair to say too, though, on the opposite side of that, every time I invest in a coach, I also still to this day, 20 years later, after first hiring my first coach, still feel nervous.
Oh, totally.
Still feel scared, still want to find an excuse if I'm on a sales call with the coach. I can't find my wallet. Can I get back? Like, I still naturally want to do those things.
Right.
Because that's more comfortable. But yeah, every time I make the decision to invest and then follow through and do the work, life expands. because a belief that I've developed over the last handful of years is that every time I invest in myself, my life expands, right? It's just that simple mantra, that simple statement.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's good because that helps you come back to that forced focus. I love that. You don't know this about me, but a couple years ago, I went through this forced focus thing because I decided I needed to focus on my business. And so I opted out of probably 20, email newsletters I was getting from people, right?
Yeah.
My life got a lot better. My revenues went up and I got focused, and people say, "Hey, are you on so-and-so's email list? Oh, he's great. You need to be on his list." I'm like, "Yeah, great. Give me the highlights, baby." Because I ain't doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's the benefit of hiring a coach is oftentimes it's not about what they're going to have you say yes to. It's all the things that you now are saying no to. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, I was going to say, no, that's it. But it's taking things away, not adding to, most of the time is how I find focus. And it takes that perspective, that outside perspective, to look into a business or a business person and go, here's what you need to do. Take some things off, gain some margin.
I had a client that shared with me at the top of the month that she just had her second biggest cash collected month. She's a mom of 3 out in Israel. She just did $47,000 cash collected.
Wow.
Before she started working with us, she was a personal trainer at a gym. Share that not to take away from personal trainers at a gym. She had no business experience, right? And she just generated $47,000, the average median income in a month. And she says to me often, she goes, "Mike, one of the most valuable things I get from you is that," she goes, "I am such a high energy person. I have new ideas all the time. And you help me," she said, "filter those ideas and say, that's a great idea, Tova, but not right now.
Right.
Let's put that on the back burner. Maybe when this is happening," right? And so it keeps her focused on all those other things, but people don't realize that without that perspective, a lot of times we're saying yes to all these things, not realizing the opportunity cost of the impact it's having on the very thing we're trying to create. Using the weight loss analogy again, right? I might be seeing progress with keto, but then my buddy tells me, "Hey, I just watched this vegan documentary on Netflix called Gain." So I change for a while and then I lose progress and I lose momentum. And it's oftentimes the yeses that we're saying yes to that cause us to not get the results that we want if we can't stay focused over a long enough period of time.
Dude, shiny object syndrome. Yes. And how many times do we talk to business owners and go, "Stop it. Stay here," right? You don't need the new whatever it is. No. And just one of my marketing formulas that I give my clients is consistency over time. Show up regularly, show up as yourself. And you mentioned that up there earlier in how you help people is we talk a lot about, now, Michael, I like you a lot. Okay. But how many coaches are there out there, right? Here's the deal. People buy you more than what you do for them, right? They're buying Michael Chu because I like you and you've got energy and I believe in what you're doing. Okay, show up that way. And that's what we teach our clients is everybody's unique in how they approach things, but you've got to share yourself. You've got to be there. And that's part of what it sounds like you help people do, right?
Yeah. Well, for sure. That's so true that we're hiring the person more than just the strategy sometimes. And
absolutely.
One of the things I think there's two things to that conversation. Number one, we shouldn't just hire somebody based on the promise they're making us to what they can do for us per se. We should hire also based on what they've done in their own life. Right? One of the reasons why our program generates such incredible results is because I'm not the online coach who's teaching other people how to build an online coaching business, who's never built my own online coaching business. But the truth is there's tons of those. And that's one of the reasons I never wanted to get into coaching coaches, because I admittedly think most of those coaches are either a scam or they're just doing it as a money grab. But one of the things that makes me unique in helping other coaches is that I have built a 7-figure online coaching business, like actually coaching people, that still runs today. I only started Passion to Profits because so many people were asking me, "How are you doing it?" that I was starting to beta test my strategies with other people, and all 10 people, grew to 10K in a month. And I was like, okay, I might be onto something. And then a mentor of mine said, Mike, it's not about you. It's about the industry, how you utilize the maximization model, how you utilize the LTV method, right? Most of the industry is not doing this. Like you have something to provide. And when I realized it was about giving, I was like, okay, I'll launch this business. I'll launch Passion to Profits. But that's the first step. And then the second side of people are investing in you more than just the strategy. I think people need to be really cautious of the fact that when you invest in a mentor, you also get their energy, you get their beliefs, you get their lifestyle, you start to adopt their patterns more than you realize. And they might not have the values that you have. They might not have the lifestyle that you actually want. So they can help you get to 30K a month, and then you find yourself burnt out and miserable, and you lost a relationship because they said just work 14 hours a day, right? Or you haven't been paying attention to your kids or your family, or your health has been compromised and things like that. And so I think it's important to make sure that you are investing in mentors, that you also want not just the business results, but you want the lifestyle, the beliefs, the values that they have for their own life.
Yeah. Yeah. Characters, what is the word that came to me as you were explaining all of that?
Yes.
Character, beliefs, and looking at their lifestyle. And this is what I do to the coaches I hire. I try to look at their personal lifestyle and say, is that a lifestyle that I agree with or would like to model?
Yeah.
And that's just one criteria, but a lot of it weighs on that, because you're right. I know my values and beliefs, and you may have the best thing in the world, but if you've been divorced 3 times and bankrupt twice, I don't want anything to do with that. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I'll go somewhere else. I'll go to YouTube. No.
Sure.
But here's what I believe, Michael, and this is what I tell my audience all the time. Everybody needs a coach. I'm a marketing guy, right? I've got 3 marketing coaches that look at my business because I'm too close to it. I need help. And we're getting ready to hire another coach to help us with something. So I'm a big fan of coaches, hiring coaches and staying with them for multiple years, because that's really the compound effect of it, right?
Sure.
So I'm a big fan. You've given us a ton of great information. I love that. How do people get a hold of you? If this is intriguing to people, obviously, I mean, you got a lot of passion, resonates with who you are, but also your business and things, but you've got some great experience, and you've got a good model of taking people. And I love the fact that you're not an internet coach that just has a certificate that you just graduated from John Smith's coaching program.
Sure.
Shut up. You've got some experience behind you. You've built some things. You help a lot of people. You've got a giver's attitude. I love that. How do people take that next step? Where would they go to find out more about you and what you offer?
Yeah, the easiest way is just follow me on Instagram if you just want to stay connected that way. My handle is Mike 2_Chu, CHU. And so you just follow me on Instagram. However, if you are a coach already growing a business, or a consultant or an expert, and maybe you're at 10K or 20K a month, but you want to grow to 30 to 50K a month, or even the 7-figure level, you can go to www.champdev.com/free. And there's a free 3-part training on exactly how to install the LTV method into someone's business to unlock $100,000. We've had clients unlock $1 million in back-end profits in 90 days using this system, right? Without generating a single extra lead, without growing their audience by even a single extra person or spending an extra dollar on ad spend. And we unlocked $1 million in revenue with students on the low end, 6 figures. So if you already have an established business, you can go to www.champdev.com/free, but just follow me on Instagram. That's the easiest way to stay connected. I put out all types of free value, reels, content on there as a way of staying connected.
Awesome. We're going to have all of that captured in the show notes, because we want you to take advantage of that. That's a great offer, the 3, because it's so cool, because finding money inside your business goes straight to the bottom line. It's awesome. Yeah. So champdev.com/free for the 3-part training. That's going to be in the show notes. Michael Chu, wow. Thank you very much for sharing with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, you are welcome. It's been exciting. Hope people take you up on that offer. And again, just if you want to learn how to take your passions, turn those into profits, run a great business with a great lifestyle, reach out. Michael Chu, and find him on Instagram. Find him in the show notes with champdev.com/free. Get you that 3-part training. It's going to be phenomenal. Michael, I appreciate you being here. Have a great day, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.